like opinions. This is Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 2, Episode 1, House Divided. So the episode picks right back up where it left off, with the ladies continuing to talk about Mary and her church. So Lisa says Cameron mortgaged his house and gave Mary 300 grand. And then they flash back to Lisa and Cameron having a sit-down conversation, and he said that Robert and Mary called church meetings for when they want money. And they beat you down until, you give them what they want. And which is why he mortgaged his house, because he said surgeries, and I'm thinking it was surgeries for his child. So she tells him that he tied a lot of money and he thinks he was bamboozled. And Heather keeps saying robbed, and she keeps correcting Heather and saying no, bamboozled. But Heather is also questioning, why she's speaking up now or whatever. And she said Cameron felt like everything he believed in with Mary wasn't real, and the bottom line is, I believe him. And Meredith's like, I'm not going to sit here and listen to something with no facts when I had facts about Jen, and all you did to me, all she did to me, and none of you would listen. And they tell Meredith that everyone is talking about how Mary Church is a cult and she's scamming everybody out of money. Like, everyone is talking about it. It's just not us or whatever. It's everywhere. And I was like, that's true, because I heard about it before the first season Mary came on. So Heather asks why they still friends with Mary, and Lisa starts crying again and saying, she feels traumatized with Cameron, but she believes everything Cameron said. So Meredith's like, Jen has done worse, and we don't have any concrete facts about Mary, and I would not sit here and listen to nasty things talked about my friend when you don't have any facts. And so Lisa gets annoyed and says she's going to bed, but no, the heifer did. The heifer went right on in that mirror room or whatever. So and threw everybody under the bus. So the other girls continue to talk to Meredith, trying to get through her, saying, they're moving faster with Mary because they didn't do that with Jen. Whatever, y'all can go to hell with that, because I don't believe it. Y'all moving faster with Mary because none of y'all really like Mary. So whatever. Y'all scared of Jen, but trying to put it like y'all scared of Mary, but whatever. So Lisa asks Mary about the things that's happening online, everything people saying about her in her church. And Mary like, either you gonna take the loyalty with me or not listen to what you hear. So Lisa asks if the people at her church think she's God, and Mary's like, no. And Lisa quickly said, well, that's what Whitney said. Whitney just told us that upstairs. And I'm like, see? So Mary said, if anyone was to believe that I was God, is stupid. And then she brings up Cameron, and Mary tells Lisa it's weird for her to talk. It's weird for her to take Cameron's word over hers when she met Cameron through her. And Mary said it's bad energy and bad whispers, and I'm hurt, and she fake cries. So Lisa said when Jen came to the photo shoot, she spared a lot of hateful things about you and speculation, whatever. And she was like, she says she's always being held accountable, but not Mary Crosby. But Lisa never says what Jen said. But the producers did a flashback, and Jen saying that Mary, Mary got people on food stamps. They done committed suicide. People are fearful of her. And I'm like, God out. So Mary said, that's why Jen is where she is, and I'm sitting right here. She lives a lie, and look what she said and where she is now. And it's the next day, and Mary goes to Jeannie's room with a gift to thank her for doing her makeup. And we get a flashback of Jeannie doing Mary makeup and apologizing for the way she spoke to her at the tubing. So Jeannie is thankful for the shoes that Mary gave her. And Mary was like, I really didn't get them for her. I got them because I was leaving out the house and I saw them, like, oh, okay, this will go good with Jeannie or whatever. Didn't make sense. So, Heather goes to Whitney's room because she's getting ready to go see her sister. And Whitney tells her, she heard laughing last night. And when she listened to the voices, it was Lisa, Mary, and Heather. It appears Mary gave them nice gifts. And she like, y'all just sat there and talked about her. And now you are getting bought off. So she said she wanted to hear Heather out. And Heather is like, Mary busted in her room, gave her a gift. But Heather's like, this is the situation. How does Lisa escape all of this? And go downstairs with Mary, and they walk in my room. And Whitney asks, what Mary say? And she said, Lisa told her about all the rumors and that had been going around about her, and Mary denied it. And basically, Lisa dumped it all on Whitney. So Whitney said, she was not going to blindly follow Mary, and she thinks Lisa wanted this to happen and planned all of this. But she ain't taking that fall for nothing. So Heather's sister and her husband come over, and they leave out to go hang out. And they sit down for drinks, and she wants to humble herself and reconnect with her sister. So Nancy was the sister that didn't want to follow the Mormon rules and was basically disowned by the family when she left to get married with somebody non-Mormon when she was 18 or whatever. And she was basically disowned by her whole family. So she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and none of her family talked about her illness or spoke to her. And she said they told her to go do her rebellious heathen ways. We won't see you in heaven. Have a nice time. And I'm like, damn. So Heather says the fact that you didn't choose the path is why you don't have a relationship with us. And her sister thinks it's ridiculous. And Heather cries and says, she has a lot of guilt for not having a relationship with her sister for decades. And things are finally opening up to her because things started to change when their dad passed and they no longer had to face him. So Heather says, she did everything her dad asked her to do. She went to school, she got married, she had the kids, she got the job, and they had a wonderful relationship because of it. Her sister tells her, she was jealous of Heather's entire life. And it's crazy that they can't talk about that. And she always wanted to be Heather. And she was like, and then, because she's the younger sister. Nancy is the younger sister. Nancy is the younger sister. So Heather apologized for putting her faith over her sister. And she asked her if she can come to a celebration of life for their father, since they were not allowed to have a funeral. So they packing up and going. So everybody's packing up and going home. And Meredith got a private jet for them. And Lisa, like, I would rather have a big plane. I'm like, Lisa, what car you want? So Lisa doesn't like how things ended with her and Meredith. And Lisa tells Meredith she went and asked Mary a question about her church, and she answered them all. And Meredith said she regrets saying anything to Whitney about Cameron. And I said, oh, so this is what we gonna do. We gonna blame everything on Whitney. Got it. So Meredith starts to cry and says this was what happened last winter with all the lies that was out there about me, and nobody asked her, was it true? She doesn't want to sit back and let the same thing happen to Mary, and we all have to have that conversation about it. And Mary hasn't had the chance to tell her truth. So Jeannie agrees, and Lisa calls everyone into the living room, and Meredith asks for resolve and not bad-mouthing people behind their backs. And Jeannie like, that's wild you say that, and you hired a private investigator. Well, she said this in her confessional. You hired a private investigator behind your friend's back. And so Meredith apologizes to Mary and Whitney for telling Whitney about what Cameron said and not going straight to Mary. So Whitney said Cameron brought this up, not me, and Lisa brought Cameron to tell Meredith. Whitney thinks this was a setup calculated by Lisa to plant seeds and get everyone else to do her dirty work, and I totally agree. Like, this, Whitney said it right or whatever. Whitney, you're not innocent. But Lisa, like, she not responsible for everything, and Meredith tells Mary to say what she wants to say. And Mary, like, I don't owe anyone an explanation. And she tells Whitney she is exhausted. And she tells Whitney to bring her head down because she is nobody. And Heather's like, why are you being unfairly mean? And I'm not going to sit here and let you do that. And no one can say, she said anything disparaging about you. And Mary tells her she sat there and let Whitney be mean to her, and you sat there looking at it, talking about a double standard. And Lisa asks Mary, do she care about Whitney? And Mary says she does care about it. And Heather's spidey senses tingles, and she says, this is not the message y'all came in my room with last night. Whitney asks Lisa why she made a big switch when she was out there last night saying all those things, and now it's a different thing today. And she looks to Mary and says she thinks Lisa saw a strain in their relationship, went to Mary to gain her on her side to go against Whitney. And Lisa said she is not a masterminded remote control and don't think negative of me. And Lisa and Whitney still going back and forth. And Mary stops the whole conversation and they stop talking. I'm like, wow. So and they get quiet. And Heather said, she was asleep and they came in her room with a gift, and Mary like, ain't nobody business, and everybody don't need to know that. And everybody got a gift except Whitney. And Mary said she not gonna give it to her until she feels like, she deserves it. And I'm like, what? So Heather said the point is, you said you would never be friends with Whitney ever again, and Lisa was giddy about it. And Heather tells Lisa, you talk mess about Mary all night and come smiling in with the Louis Vuitton later. And Lisa starts clapping, saying, let's all be mad at Lisa. And I'm like, here she go with this same tide trick. So Whitney asks what everybody got. And everybody's saying, what kind of gift they got. And they putting the price on it, and it's in the thousands. And she said she not heard about the gift. She just realized that her and Mary are not friends. So Heather tells Mary she has questions after everything that has happened with Jen. She doesn't want to turn a blind eye to anything like she been doing. So Mary said to compare me to her with what's going on with Jen is hurtful. She didn't ask for the inheritance and no one questioned Jen. Jen is being indicted, and to compare that to my church and faith is ridiculous. And Mary tells Heather, Jen manipulated you. And Heather said, you manipulated me right now. And but in a different way. And Mary like, I could have manipulated you a long time ago. And Heather like, she was like, where? At the cooking class? She was like, exactly. So Heather was like, I was on wine and all that night. And Mary said, you always on something that someone got to drive you home. I was like, dang, Heather. And Heather said she was done with this convo. And in her confessional, she gets buck. Because they get buck in the confessional, not to people's face. She gonna say she overlooked Mary being married to her step granddaddy, and you a horrible person to a lot of people, and you gonna pin me to the cross. If people start drinking when you are around, and then that means you are the problem. Now, Heather, girl, go ahead with that. So Heather gets up and says, y'all all crazy and scared to say stuff because they scared of Mary. And Lisa like, Mary, we had a good conversation last night. He said, nah, boo, you said your friend sold his house because he was under Mary's spell. And Mary was like, that's not true, that's not true. So Lisa's still trying to act like she didn't do a thing. And Whitney go check on Heather. And Heather is bawling, crying, saying, she don't want to fly back with them hoes. So she didn't say that, but I did. So they pack up all their stuff, and they are taking it, and Heather and Whitney was like, they're going to take their own plane. So Whitney said everyone's being two-faced right now and not copping to the things that they said last night. And Mary believes it. Mary believes what Whitney said. And Mary looks at Meredith as Whitney walks down to where Heather is. Mary looks at Meredith and says, if you were being a friend to me, this would not be happening. And you guys sure had a lot to say about me when I wasn't there. And that's not what friends do. Gina tells Mary that every one of them was talking about her and her church and how she ripped off all them people, similar to what Jen was doing. And I'm like, Gina was the only one with the balls to say what it was. So Mary was like, don't believe what you hear. Come to my church and find out for yourself. And Gina was like, I make my own judgment, and I will do that. So Mary starts crying and says she believes in what she does, and she was giving into it. She took it on like a woman, and she was a child. So she gives up preaching and says she never ripped off anyone. She was born into money. She said, you guys go from Jen to me, and she was like, Heather little chubby self did all her year. And I'm like, oh Lord. So baby, I was stuck when she said Heather little chubby self, and I was like, uh-oh. So Mary said she sees Jen, she sees a thug like those Mexicans that sell drugs. And I'm like, Mary, that is racist. Oh my God. So Lisa's eyes get big, like, say what now? So Mary goes to Heather and says if she was being a real friend, this would never be happening. So everyone but Heather and Whitney get on the bus and leave for the private jet. And Lisa has the nerve to say, if Heather and Whitney would have kept their mouth shut and heard Mary out, they wouldn't be flying commercial and taking their shoes off in security. Lisa, I think Heather and Whitney are the main two people that I don't think care about none of this material stuff like this or whatever. So basically, everybody on this show is fake as, I can't say the word, but you know, all of them, every last one, not an exempt one in it. Everybody fake, like, okay. But that was my review of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will get back to you guys next week. Bye.